Boxing Truth here. I've been wanting to do this story for a few days now, just haven't had the time to really talk about it. But there's been a big debate for quite some time, not sure how long, about a fight between Gennady Golovkin and Erislandy Lara. For some strange reason, a lot of fans believe Lara could defeat Golovkin, despite Lara having never fought at 160 pounds. He's never beaten anyone of note at the middleweight division. He's not even ranked. He's unranked. So, and based off his career thus far, I don't understand the logic where this is coming from. Like, why do people feel? And there's some people, there's some fans that feel Lara would defeat Golovkin. I don't see where is that coming from. What has Lara done in his career to even deserve or even believe that he has a shot against Golovkin? One, he doesn't deserve the fight for many reasons. He's never fought at 160. He's never beaten a ranked opponent in the division. It's debatable that he's the best junior middleweight in the world. He's the best 154 pounder according to BoxRec, really by default. Canelo left the division. He's no longer there. He's now campaigning at Canelo weight. The Charlo brothers are still taking on safe fights, so they can't really be considered the best because they haven't really beaten anyone of note yet. Miguel Cotto's been campaigning at his own weight class, so we can't consider him the best 54 pounder. So he's pretty much, and Demetrius Andrade is still trying to recover from the foolish business decisions he's made over a year ago. So he'd be considered the best had he not made some dumb business decisions. But Lara has a lot to prove in the 154 pound weight class. So I don't see why there's actually a little demand for some fans for GGG to fight Lara. Now, one of the main reasons is because Lara has called out Triple G for quite some time. That's good and fine and all, but here's the problem. I don't give a shit when an Al Haymon fighter calls someone out. It doesn't matter to me. It's pointless. It's meaningless because at the end of the day, that Al Haymon fighter that's calling out somebody, especially from the other side of the pond or the other side of the street, that fighter needs permission from Al Haymon to fight him. That is the question. Is Al Haymon gonna let Lara fight Gennady Golovkin? Is he gonna let Lara go to HBO to fight Gennady Golovkin? And that is the problem. So I don't care if that Lara's been calling him out because he needs permission from Al Haymon to fight him. Now, Triple G's team, they've countered that, Abel Sanchez, the trainer of Gennady Golovkin, he's countered that, Lara hasn't done anything in the middleweight division. He doesn't deserve the fight. There's other more deserving fighters that deserve a shot at Gennady Golovkin, and he has a great point. Like the points I just stated. If Lara wants to fight Triple G, he needs to fight someone of note already. I don't understand the praise Lara gets considering his record. This guy couldn't even beat Vanes Martirosyan. This guy couldn't even beat Carlos Molina. And if anybody watched that fight, you would know Erislandy Lara lost that night. He got schooled by Carlos Molina. Nobody remembers it because it was on an ESPN2 Friday night's fight show card, so nobody remembers. It was over 4 years ago. It's been almost 5 years now. Molina and Lara fought at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas back in 2011, and Molina schooled him. He took away Lara's best weapon, which was his straight left hand, and Lara couldn't do shit after Molina took away his left hand because Lara's very little one-dimensional offensively. You take away his left hand, he has trouble finding the target. He has trouble doing any damage to you in the ring. There's just nothing impressive about Lara's resume. The guy he went life and death for Alfredo Angulo. He got a good win over Trout. He looked good in that fight. He He's the fight with Paul Williams. A lot of people felt he won the fight. It was a weird kind of fight. One of those fights where it was hard to score. It was close. Lara landed the more damaging blows. He landed the better shots, but he got outworked by Paul Williams. Uh, every time Lara will land a big shot, Paul Williams will throw back 4 or 5 punches in between. So it was one of those fights where you had to really pick what you liked about that fight. But it was a close fight. Maybe Lara did win. He landed the better punches, but he didn't get the decision. That's at the end of the day, he didn't get the decision. He had another fight with another close fight with Canelo Alvarez. It was a close fight. The problem in that fight was he just wasn't aggressive enough. He ran for much of the fight, didn't do much offensively. He should have stood his ground more, and that was a problem. I mean, I don't understand how fans believe that Lara could beat Golovkin, and this guy can't even handle Canelo's power. Canelo's not the biggest puncher. He's a good puncher, but compared to Golovkin, he has. There's nowhere near the power. He has nowhere near the power of Gennady Golovkin, punch for punch. It was a close fight that Lara had with Alvarez. Some people thought he won. I watched the fight. I thought Canelo landed the better shots. He was the aggressor. He pressed the action, and Lara just did too much running for my liking. But if Lara really wants this fight, he will move up in the middleweight division, make more of a demand for this fight to happen. The reason why fans are not interested in this fight, especially Golovkin supporters, because they know who's going to win. They already know Triple G trashes Erislandy Lara. He would trash Erislandy Lara. There's no doubts about it. 1,000%. Especially right now that Lara is coming off a pretty dismal 2015. He fought twice. Fought 2 complete no-hopers. I mean, people talk about Golovkin's competition, his opposition. Look at the opposition Lara just recently fought. He fought 2 faded guys. One who was a never was, and Delvin Rodriguez was just 1 fight removed from getting destroyed by Miguel Cotto, and Lara went the distance with this guy. He couldn't even make a statement with Delvin Rodriguez. He went 12 rounds with this faded guy who has seen better days, never won a world title, challenged for one, but hasn't done anything special in his career, and he went 12 rounds with him. Couldn't even make a statement. Then he fights John Zavik, one of the most another handpicked opponent. Very safe fight. I don't understand why Lara was in this type of fight. He's fighting a career welterweight. Fought most of his career at welterweight. Hasn't done much in his career. Not much of anything. He was a paper champion at welterweight at one point. Lost to Andre Berto. That's all that needs to be said about John Zavik. He's became an opponent in recent years for fighters like Keith Thurman and other Al Haymon stars. And another thing why this fight is not much in demand is Lara is not drawing. He's not a draw. He just doesn't draw a lot of fans to his fights. Doesn't have a lot of marketing power behind him. He's been on networks multiple times, like he's been on HBO, he's been on Showtime, but the ratings just don't. The ratings speak for themselves. I mean, especially his last couple of fights, he didn't fight the right type of opponents, fought complete no-hopers, and the ratings suffered because of it. Only 13,000 viewers for his fight with Rodriguez on Spike. And in his last fight, he fought in a near-empty racetrack in Florida, and it only did 482,000 viewers at its peak on ESPN. The numbers don't lie. This guy is not a star. He's not drawing. The casual fan does not know who Erislandy Lara is. And HBO is willing to do business with Al Haymon fighters, but it depends on the certain magnitude of the fight. The fight has to be big business, has to do ratings, it has to put asses in the seats. The one fight HBO is willing to make with Al Haymon is a Daniel Jacobs Triple G fight. Now that is a good fight. It's an interesting fight. Is Triple G still a heavy favorite? Yes, of course. But it's an intriguing fight. Daniel Jacobs coming off a good win over an overrated Quillen, but it's still the way he dispatched Quillen in less than a round was impressive. But he's a chinny guy. He's vulnerable. He's been knocked out before, but he's punching very hard. He's coming off a winning streak. He's completely rehabilitated from that loss. It'd be an interesting fight. It'd be a great fight, and that fight will sell out the Garden, no doubt. I mean, Triple G is the A side, no doubt. I mean, Jacobs couldn't sell out the Barclays Center with Quillen, even though he's from Brooklyn. So Triple G would be the A side, but that fight is very difficult to be made because Heyman and Jacobs are under the PBC umbrella. They're loyal to the PBC and they fight on Showtime. So they're gonna demand a co-production for that fight to be made, and that fight's just not big enough for that type of fight. It can't be a co-production between two networks. That's only happened twice in its history, and that was for the two biggest fights of the past 2 decades: Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson and Mayweather versus Pacquiao. That is the only way two networks, two rivals are going to work together for a boxing match. It has to be a big fight. Now, Triple G Jacobs is a big fight, but not at that level, nowhere near it. It's a sellout at the Garden. It'll do big business. It'll great ratings. It'll be a great fight. It'll be some great action. And Daniel Jacobs, he has a puncher's chance. Now with Lara, he doesn't draw any ratings, doesn't put asses in the seats. He's been in shitty fights, like the one with Martirosyan. He hasn't been in intriguing fights. The fight with Canelo was a disappointment. So it's not like the networks are dying to see Triple G fight Lara, because most fans know Triple G spanks him, and Lara doesn't have the type of fighting style to make it interesting or make it intriguing, and also he doesn't have the style to beat Golovkin. That's not the style to beat Golovkin. You can't run away from him. You can't try to outbox Golovkin. You're putting yourself in danger. Golovkin is the best at cutting off the ring. He knows how to trap you in the corner and land his big punches and get leverage on his shot, especially when you move away from him. You're letting him getting him leverage on his shots. You have to take it to Golovkin. You have to go inside. You have to bite down on your mouthpiece and get inside his power. That's the way you beat Golovkin. You can't try to outbox Golovkin. He's the best at trapping you. If Lara gets trapped and it gets knocked down and almost knocked out by Alfredo Angulo, he's going to get hurt by Golovkin. I don't understand why people think Lara could beat Golovkin when he hasn't done much in his career. He still has a lot to prove at 54. If he wants the Triple G fight bad, he's got to demand it from Heyman. He's got to move up in weight and beat somebody of note. Go up and beat Daniel Jacobs. Can you beat Daniel Jacobs? Prove that to me. Then maybe, if fans keep talking shit about Lara spanking Golovkin, then I say make the fight. Just for Golovkin to prove that these guys don't know shit about boxing. Anyway, this is Boxing Truth. I'm out.